When I talk about entrepreneurship, I'm not just talking about business startup. I'm also talking about people who bring change in society and also within organizations. And particularly now in 2021, we're seeing an even greater need for entrepreneurial leadership across all types of organizations and across our society. So entrepreneurship is not static. And it's not a lifelong title either. You can be entrepreneurial at certain points in time. And for example, if you have set up a business, once that business keeps running and you're not engaging in innovation, then in my mind, you actually move into the role of being a business owner or a manager.
Do entrepreneurs tend to share the same characteristics?
Looking at this notion of entrepreneurial leadership, we're seeing these characteristics being spread across leadership, but I think entrepreneurs are much more nuanced in these specific characteristics that I'll share with you. So my big one is actually about creativity, individuals who see the world, but through different perspectives, and actually then having the confidence to act on it. I think another really key component of being entrepreneurial is resilience and grit. Again, we've had a lot about these words, particularly during the pandemic. Another way of looking at it, you could argue that entrepreneurs are stubborn. But
they tend to be, don't they? Because stubbornness is part of leadership. Or conviction of your own rightness, put it that way.
I think so, but I think the shift there that we are starting to see in this new trend of entrepreneurship is also about being collaborative. So having conviction in your thinking and your vision, really important, because you're going to have to get people onto the journey with you. But at the same time, being open enough to listen to new ideas. And we're really seeing this new wave of collaborative entrepreneurship, which wasn't there 10 or 15 years ago. So it's that delicate balance between knowing where you want to get to, but listening to others.
And I mean, basically, you're at Henley Business School, and I talked about individuals, stubbornness, leadership. Can you teach all of those to people coming to Henley Business School, or are entrepreneurs already made before they come to you?
So I think there's been a lot of academic research, as you can imagine, in this space over the last 30 years, trying to understand whether entrepreneurs are born or bred. Now, working and teaching within a business school and teaching entrepreneurship, of course, I would say the behaviors are taught. But I think we're starting to see more and more research, especially in terms of behavior, in terms of neuroscience, that shows us that the characteristics I've just shared with you, creativity, these are all skills that can be taught and nurtured. And we know that they can, the social context within which you're born and you grow can actually have a huge impact on learning and fine-tuning these skills. So we think much more about entrepreneurship in terms of behaviors rather than traits. We also, but at the same time, we also know that individuals who are born into family business backgrounds or into entrepreneurial cultures are much more exposed to the language and the behavior from a younger age. So there are advantages if you're born within these environments, but it is certainly, there are characteristics that can be learned over time.
Are we good in the UK at producing entrepreneurs compared with other countries in Europe?
We've got some really good areas within the UK and good sectors that we're focusing on, particularly if you look at innovation hubs, if you look at areas around food innovation, for example, and tech. I think what we're starting to see actually is much more cross-European and even global collaboration. So entrepreneurs are not necessarily seeing themselves located in one particular space, but being able to work across different regions.
Does that mean the internet has made it easier for entrepreneurs to collaborate or pursue their ideas or ambitions?
I think it has, certainly. I think it's leveled the playing field. You know, the focus isn't so much on, especially during the COVID situation, you don't have to worry about the premises, the bright, shiny offices. It's really focusing on the product or the service that you're delivering, and convenience is one of those biggest factors that we know is underpinning a lot of businesses. But at the same time, there's also much greater transparency. So thinking about the way in which you're developing the business, the DNA within the business, how you operate, your reputation, all of that is also much more transparent on the internet.
Finally, I'm thinking there is no time in my memory anyway when we've needed entrepreneurs as much as we do now, with so many faltering economies, not just in the UK but across Europe. They really are badly needed, aren't they?
Absolutely. And this comes back to this idea about being an entrepreneurial leader. We will not go back to business as usual. And we have to shift our thinking away from talking about the new normal to actually talking about the next normal, because the shock we've experienced as a result of the pandemic, there will be further waves of change. So being entrepreneurial, having that mindset is absolutely crucial. But the other piece that's really important here, whether you're setting up a business or whether you're setting up a level of activism or change within your company, being really clear about your drivers and how these feed into your operation and your organization. And actually becoming really comfortable with uncertainty is a huge piece of surviving and actually thriving in this environment.
Dr. Shaheena, thank you very much for joining us on The Agenda.
Thank you, Stephen.